Well, good Monday morning, this Friday, excuse me. Good Friday morning, Alaska. We are watching the remnants of what was Typhoon Halong, which will eventually build into the state as we welcome in the weekend. We'll break down what to expect here over the next couple of days, when we'll see the greatest impacts for areas of western and southwest Alaska, and what to expect in the days ahead. As far as giving you a look at what we've got ongoing this morning in terms of the temperatures, we are seeing kind of a brief lull in the activity. That has allowed some cooler weather to filter into the state. So we're waking up with many areas sitting in the 20s and the 30s. We've even seen portions of South Central where we woke up this morning to freezing lows as you head into the valley in the Copper River Basin. So that's the statewide picture when we're talking about the temperatures that we've got ongoing as we close out this work week. But of course, the main story continues to be the remnants of Typhoon Halong, which will build into the state as we welcome in the weekend. So what you're looking at right now is a satellite and radar. We're going to pinpoint three things I want you to look at. That ridge of high pressure, that ridge is out towards the southern Gulf of Alaska and the northern Pacific Ocean. We've also got a Kamchatka low out towards the western Aleutians. This area of low pressure will kind of anchor itself in the western Aleutians, and both of those systems will play off of each other and allow that area of low pressure, the remnants of that typhoon, to build into the central and eastern Aleutians as we welcome in our Saturday. And you can actually look in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Look at that Kamchatka low. You can see it's for the most part fairly closed off, so little movement expected within that. Notice as you head just east of the central Aleutians, as you head out towards the central and eastern Aleutians, where you're seeing that opening within that jet stream. This is where we're going to see that area of low pressure, or the remnants of that typhoon, shift to the east-northeast as we welcome in the weekend. So we're going to begin to see those impacts arriving for the Aleutians overnight on into tomorrow. So while the storm system itself continues to weaken, as it approaches Alaska, it will begin to re-strengthen. So as we welcome in your Saturday morning into the afternoon hours, as that system continues to push east or northward across the Aleutian Islands and into the central Bering, we will see that storm system once again strengthen, where we could see the potential for winds up to about 70 to 80 miles per hour to be expected. You can see southwest Alaska. You'll begin to see those impacts arriving into the day Saturday on into Sunday, while locations north of the Seward Peninsula, you'll see the greatest impacts with this storm arriving Sunday into Monday. And yes, this does include Kotzebue, Point Hope, Kivalina, those areas which have already been dealing with a round of some flooding from this most recent storm that we did see. This will quickly pull off towards the northeast as we welcome in our Sunday, and then it will kind of taper off as we welcome in next week with kind of a lull in the activity. So this is going to be a quick moving system, but it's going to bring several impacts across the state. And we'll have the water levels, timing, and winds of what to expect with this storm system coming up here in the next few seconds. Of course, now we're going to be talking about that coastal flooding, where we're seeing areas from the northwest Arctic Borough out towards Norton Sound, the Seward Peninsula, Gamble, St. Lawrence, even as you head out towards the Yukon Delta and the Kuskokwim Delta coastline, which remains up under coastal flood advisories and warnings in anticipation of the storm system as it builds northward. So what are we talking about when it comes to that storm surge? Well, initially, what's going to happen as this storm builds northward, it's going to pull water back out to sea. So you're going to kind of see this false sense of hope as we welcome in your Saturday before we do begin to see that storm surge. So be prepared. Storm water levels will quickly decrease as we welcome in the weekend before that storm surge does arrive. So what are we talking about in terms of this coastal flooding? Well, as you head through the Yukon Delta, Norton Sound, we're going to be talking about a storm surge of 5 to 15 feet looking likely. And then for areas of southwest Alaska, as you're talking about Hooper Bay, as you head out towards Shaktoolik, we're going to see again the greatest impacts for you arriving as we welcome in the weekend. Even areas out towards Kotzebue, Point Hope, you're also going to see this storm surge. It will be on the lower side compared to areas to the south, but you're still going to see that potential for a storm surge up to about 7 feet. This will lead to the potential that we could see some water levels once again increasing as you head out towards Kotzebue Sound. So we will be watching for that. As you keep in mind, just over the last couple of days, we did see those floodwaters reach major flood stage in Kotzebue Sound. As of this morning, let me pull it up and see where Kotzebue Sound is sitting at when it comes to the water levels itself, and we'll be able to pull that for you when I pull this map up, so we can get a good idea of what we're seeing in terms of the water levels this morning before we begin to see the storm surge arriving again. So Kotzebue Sound, the tide gauge, currently sitting at below minor flood stage. It's at 1.69 feet, but I'll go ahead and tell you, by Sunday, as we welcome in Sunday night into early Monday morning, we are expecting that tide to once again increase, and that's going to lead to that Kotzebue Sound seeing that forecast upwards of about 4 to 5 feet. And keep in mind, major flood stage for Kotzebue is around 5 feet. So there is that potential. We could see another round of some major flooding for Kotzebue and surrounding areas, even though the storm surge won't be as great as what we're going to see for areas to the southwest. And again, there is that potential. We could see those storm surge up to 15 feet. Here, I'm going to read off a few communities for you just to kind of give you an idea of what to expect. Nome, 6 to 11 feet. You'll see the highest water timing Sunday afternoon into Monday evening, with gusts up to 70 miles per hour to be expected. Hooper Bay, 5 to 10 feet with that water levels. You'll expect that Sunday morning into early Monday morning as well, with gusts up to 80 miles per hour expected for you. As you head out towards Scammon Bay, 5 to 10 feet. You can also expect to see 80 mile per hour winds. Brevard Mission, 3 to 7 feet when it comes to that storm surge. But some of the greatest storm surge that we're going to see will be Koyuk, Shaktoolik, St. Michael's, Stebbins, and Unalakleet. This is where we could see a storm surge up to 15 feet. Nome and Golovin, sorry, I said that wrong, could see up to 11 feet of storm surge. So we're going to see that potential for storm surges upwards of about a foot of water that's going to be pushing inland. So we're going to see coastal flooding, coastal erosion, which will almost certainly be guaranteed as we welcome in the weekend. So now is the time to prepare for this storm system. Let me pull that graphic back up again. When it comes to the preparations you need to get into shape when it comes to the storm system we're going to be watching as we welcome in the weekend. Looks like we're having a little trouble with the graphics there, but again, that coastal flood warning, greatest impacts with that storm surge expected Sunday into Monday, with that greatest storm surge likely topping out near 15 plus feet, and that's going to be through Norton Sound and areas of the Yukon Delta. But switching back to preparing for this storm system, you want to make sure that you protect your flood-prone property. Be prepared for power outages, as we're going to be talking about winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. Out over the open waters of the Bering Sea, we could see some gusts upwards of 100 miles per hour. If you remember back in 2022, Typhoon Merbok, which caused significant damage out towards western and southwest Alaska. This upcoming storm system, the remnants of that typhoon, has characteristics that resemble Typhoon Merbok, but I want to go ahead and remind you that each storm system completely different. You really can't compare them, even though there is some similarities. I'm just bringing that to your attention to kind of give you an idea of what to expect with this upcoming storm system. You want to avoid that travel, flooded streets, as they will be likely, and pay attention to local authorities for closures and shelter information. We saw that mandatory evacuation out towards Kotzebue just the other day from that flooding, as major flooding out towards Kotzebue Sound as it topped out at 6.71 feet. So yes, we'll see some rain today and into tomorrow. Of course, most of that will be out towards the Aleutians. Not expecting any significant impacts for today and into early tomorrow morning. Now by mid-morning, early afternoon, we'll begin to see those gusty winds and heavy rainfall, which will build into the Aleutians. But you can see the timeline Sunday on into Monday. This is when you really need to prepare for that potential for the strongest winds and that storm surge that's going to build in. Yes, there will be rain as well, but of course the bigger impacts will be that storm surge and those high winds that's going to build into western and southwest Alaska. So again, the remnants of that typhoon will kind of merge somewhat with that the Kamchatka low that's kind of hovering out towards the western Aleutians. That's going to help enhance it and strengthen it as it builds back into back into the Aleutians and the Bering Sea. So notice by mid-morning, early afternoon tomorrow, widespread rain that's going to be pushing through the Aleutians. That will build northward. And again, if you live through western and southwest Alaska, I want to go ahead and let you know that yes, you'll see those water levels drop before the storm system moves in. As it begins to approach your area, that's when that storm surge is going to come in with a force of up to about 15 feet. So coastal erosion, coastal flooding looking likely. You can see as it builds inland, we're going to see some of the greatest strength of this storm likely primarily occurring overnight Saturday into Sunday. So out towards Little Diomede, the Diomede Islands, Gamble, St. Lawrence, Norton Sound. Be prepared Sunday morning that you'll probably see some of the strongest wind gust and storm surge with you around that time period. So that's what we can expect in terms of the rain as well as the winds that's going to move into western Alaska. Seeing someone say that they're from Stebbins, you can expect 7 to 15 feet of that peak water level, which will be above the highest tide, and that is again from Sunday evening on into Monday evening with gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Even areas of the Brooks Range, as this storm system moves north, we'll see another dump of some snow in the forecast. Now, while the greatest impacts from the storm system will be felt out towards western and southwest Alaska as well as the Aleutians, we'll tap into some rain here across south central. It'll begin to arrive as we welcome in our Saturday afternoon and evening, becoming widespread overnight Saturday into Sunday, and we'll be talking about widespread rain Sunday, a wet day with some breezy conditions looking possible. So be prepared for that as well. As far as that precipitation chances across South Central, Sunday is looking to be our wettest, but even into next week, we're going to continue to favor this ongoing wet weather pattern, although there will be ample dry time next week. It's really this weekend that we're watching when it comes to that rain in the forecast. So be prepared if you live out west. Those temperatures here across South Central will steadily warm back into the upper 40s and lower 50s through next week, which is fairly seasonal for this time of year. What we're watching, though, is those overnight lows, which continue to remain well above average. Our average low this time period sitting right around freezing. You can see we warm back near 40. Before I let you go, just giving you a few more areas where we are going to see some of that storm surge. Some communities you have it read out. Even Utqiagvik, you're going to see a storm surge of about 1 to 3 feet expected. That will arrive Sunday night into Monday night for you with gusts up to 30 miles per hour. So while not strong along the slope, we will still see some impacts as you head out towards the slope region. Deering, 2 to 5 feet when it comes to that storm surge. In fact, at last check, I do believe Deering, when it comes to that coastal flooding that we're watching, that we're expected to see those water levels rise as well. In fact, the forecast for the Deering tide gauge at Deering is expected to peak at about 6.05 feet by Monday afternoon. Minor flood stage is 5 feet. So yes, you can even expect to see some minor flooding out towards Deering. Shishmaref, 2 to 6 feet when it comes to that high tide. And then one other tide gauge I want to bring your attention to, Norton Sound at Unalakleet. While right now we are seeing that tide gauge remaining well below minor flood stage, by we're going to call it, let's see, this is Sunday around 2 p.m. You'll begin to see that water rise. And then by about Sunday evening, 3 to 4 p.m., the Norton Sound tide gauge at Unalakleet will likely climb above minor flood stage. And be prepared. Right now the forecast is showing 11.65 feet for the peak crest of that tide gauge at Unalakleet. Major flood stage is at 9 feet. So that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect. So you will see flooding all across western and southwest Alaska. Looks like the greatest flooding that we've seen out towards Unalakleet on the Norton Sound tide gauge was from Typhoon Murbach when it reached 14, water levels reached a record 14.8 feet. So this is going to be about 3 feet below that record high set back from Typhoon Murbach. So all communities across western Alaska, be prepared for the impacts from this incoming storm system. Cynthia Watts, I'm in Wasilla. What's going on? Earthquake or tsunami? Cynthia, we're talking about this upcoming storm system, a secondary storm that's going to impact western Alaska from the remnants of Typhoon Halong, which is going to lead to additional storm surge and flooding across western and southwest Alaska. So keep those in mind out towards western Alaska. And if you have anyone that you know of, call them up, let them know that, hey, you've got this storm system coming your way. They most likely already know, but you never know. Just let them know, hey, we've got this incoming storm that could bring the potential for some flooding, coastal erosion, as well as some high winds up to about 70 to 80 miles per hour with even stronger winds out over the open waters of the Bering Sea. We'll have more coming up in the noon show as well as in the evening newscast. We'll be tracking this storm system as it continues to build back in across the state. For now, though, be prepared for that coastal flooding with storm surge as high as 15 feet. people.